Namaste. The word guna, we are familiar with, people even with a basic understand guna, but we often quickly translate it as mode, one of the three gunas, three modes, or three qualities. So I want to ask Dr. Das, please clarify what is guna and whether it is quality or not, please help us understand.
Yes, Rajiv ji, this word guna is a tricky word.
Okay.
Yes, because it has two meanings and they are quite different. So one of the popular meaning, as you already said, is that it's a quality. So every object, every substance has some qualities. So they are its guna. They exist, like you have sugar. So sugar has sweetness in it. So sweetness is the quality, it is the guna of the sugar. But when the same word guna is used in relationship with prakriti, which we sometimes translate as primordial matter, which is the original substance from which this universe springs. All that Big Bang theory is actually the expansion, that point is prakriti. And it is the glance of Mahavishnu that the bang happens. So that time when we use guna in relationship with prakriti and we talk about the three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, then guna does not mean a quality. Then it is a constituent of prakriti. Prakriti actually is made of these three gunas. And prakriti, the word prakriti itself has got many meanings. Probably we will discuss that in another episode. But prakriti, when the gunas are in its very balanced state, means sattva, rajas and tamas, none of them is predominating each other. They have a tendency to predominate. So when they are completely balanced, that is what we call as prakriti, means in that state no creation happens. Because for any creation to happen, there has to be an imbalance. Like if you are very peaceful, your mind is very balanced, you will not do anything. Right? Many yogis retired there in the Himalayas, they are very balanced, they don't do anything. So those people who are working very much means they are in the imbalanced state.
Right.
So they are doing a lot of things. So prakriti also, when it becomes imbalanced by the glance of Mahavishnu and the time potency is injected into it, then it starts acting and then it gives rise to Mahat Tattva, Ahankara, and then comes all the Manas and Buddhi and Gyanendriya, Karmendriya, Panch Mahabhutas and all this. This whole world manifests from that. So those three things at that time are its constituents and the word guna is used for them also. And these gunas themselves have qualities. Usually a quality does not have a quality. When we say that sugar is sweet, so sweetness does not have a quality. Sweetness does not have sweetness in it.
Right.
So quality is qualityless.
Right. Very important.
So if we say that the gunas are the quality of prakriti, then they will not have any more qualities in them.
Right.
But we study in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes that sattva has this characteristics, rajas has these characteristics. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam, rajaso lobho evacha, pramad moho tamaso bhavto jnanam evacha. So tamasa gives pramad, moha, tamas, all this delusion, ignorance. So those are the characteristics which are manifesting from the guna. So there the word guna has a different meaning. So we have to know this distinction very clearly.
It's almost like there are two different things that are being referred to as guna.
Right.
So just to understand it correctly, just to make sure. So one meaning, which is the deeper meaning, is that guna are the constituents of prakriti. So it's these are the building blocks, or these are the ingredients, or these are the things of which prakriti is made.
Right.
Everything is made.
And then everything which emanates from prakriti
has qualities.
Has these gunas in it.
Has gunas in it.
And then these qualities are manifestation of the gunas.
Right. So the gunas are in a simple, not totally accurate way, but a very simple way, gunas are the input into nature.
Right.
And then what is output, whatever objects are output have some gunas in them.
Yeah, everything.
Everything has gunas. Nothing is without gunas.
Nothing is without
So
gunas.
The first meaning is the gunas as the inputs to constitute nature. the building blocks, the input, the raw material of which the nature is made. And then the second is whatever nature, all the things that exist in nature got qualities.
Right.
And those are also called gunas.
Yeah, those are also called gunas, and they are coming out of these gunas of Prakriti.
They are coming out of these. So there's two sides to the guna. One is what is more deep, what is the input, and one is the resulting output.
Right.
Both are called gunas.
Yes, both are called gunas, but they have different, characteristics, different functions. They are not same.
Right, right. So what most people know of when they say gunas is the second kind, which is the qualities that different things have. Iska kya gun hai, uska kya gun hai.
Right.
So what are the qualities of different things that are going on? And we say these are the qualities.
Right.
That's how I think generally people are using that word.
Yes.
But you pointed out another meaning, which is that forget the output of nature that we are experiencing as our empirical reality. The nature itself is built of building blocks, which are the gunas.
The original point which we made, that when we are translating the word guna as mode in relationship Prakriti, that is also a little bit misleading, because mode is something which is temporary.
So guna is
a permanent constituent of Prakriti. Prakriti cannot exist without gunas. Mode is something, it is in this mode and then it is in that mode, it can change. But Prakriti is always having the three gunas.
so the three gunas, as used in the first sense of being the underlying constituents of existence, of nature, of Prakriti.
Right.
These are absolutes, universals, unchangeable.
Right. Just like matter, if you see when science, from scientific point of view, they say it is made of molecules are made of atoms, and then atoms are proton, neutron, electron. So this proton, neutron, they are like, sattva and tamas. And electron is like rajas, So,
But now they are breaking these and making even other things.
so then you are going to the energy level.
Right, right,
But every substance will have these three potencies in it.
right.
There will be potency of balancing. Sattva does balancing work. Rajas is action, and tamas holds back, covering, heaviness. So everything has got these three things in it. And of course, ultimately, this is an energy. When you go to the Prakriti level, then it's just Shakti.
So are the descriptions of gunas, qualities, when you apply them, these different substances of gunas, personalities of gunas, all of that, are these qualities the same that are applicable in the first sense when you say the gunas comprise all of Prakriti?
Yeah, no, when you say that this person has got guna, if you speak of sattva, rajas or tamas guna, then
Right.
this is a sattvic person.
Right,
That is same.
it is same.
Yeah. But when you speak, sattvic person has got this type of qualities,
Right,
that is the effect of those gunas which is coming.
right, right. So this requires a deeper study of Sankhya.
Right.
And so therefore, a bad idea to get rid of the word guna from in the Sanskrit word guna and sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, get rid of them and replace them with other things.
Yeah, like you say, mode of goodness and mode of passion and mode of ignorance. These are very
Commonly
common.
used, and they are misleading because they will not take you to the deeper level. You will be stuck in a superficial level of understanding, which is also incomplete, and you are not encouraged to go deeper and dig into what exactly does it mean.
Yeah, because really speaking, the word guna, sattva, rajas, tamas, they don't have equivalents in English.
They don't have any equivalent.
No, they don't have.
So we should introduce these words, guna, and the three particular gunas, all four of these words, into the English language, and just require people have to understand.
Right.
That's very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Namaste.